Hello, it's 4 News O'Clock on Allnews Nigeria. I am Okweyemi Olugbemi. Here are the headlines for today. United States House members debate debt ceiling bill. Mike Pence to announce presidential bid. Now the news. The United States House of Representatives has voted to advance a bipartisan bill to raise the debt ceiling, which limits the amount of money the federal government can borrow.
A government barreling towards $36 trillion of debt and an absolute devastating burden on the future of this country, on our children and our grandchildren, who are not going to be able to afford homes, not be able to afford to go to school, not be able to afford food, groceries. Talk about food programs. I don't hear a whole hell of a lot about what we're doing to devastate American families with rampant inflation because we keep spending money we don't have.
But what today is about is whether we're going to hurt 330 million Americans, whether we're going to hurt the global economy. That's what this is about. And from my perspective, there is only one answer: to pass a bill that, in fact, does not have America welch on its debts.
We can do so much better, but you have to stop this assault against the poor, against the vulnerable in this country. We need to do better, and I urge all my colleagues, as we move forward in the coming months, to keep that in mind. We are here to bring everybody forward, not just a selective few.
After calling for a recorded vote, the House passed the bill 314 to 117 in a late-night sitting on Wednesday. The vote comes as the government approaches a Monday deadline to lift the debt ceiling or default on its loans, a prospect experts warn could have devastating effects on the United States economy. The bill will now go to the Senate, where the Democrats have a slim majority. Republican House Speaker Kevin McCarthy faced a divided party as he rallied votes for the 99-page deal, which would suspend the $31.4 trillion borrowing limit until January 2025. Far-right members of the Republican Party blasted the agreement that was first announced on Sunday after days of negotiations between congressional representatives and members of President Joe Biden's Democratic White House. Among the criticisms was the fact that the proposed spending cuts were not as deep as many Republicans hoped. In other news, former United States Vice President Mike Pence will announce next week that he is running for president, giving a kick-off speech in Iowa and releasing a campaign video on June 7 ahead of a town hall with CNN. Among those vying for the Republican nomination is Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, who is also expected to announce his presidential campaign next week. Mike Pence will be running against Donald Trump in a Republican primary, setting up a personal battle with the former boss he only broke from in the wake of the January 6 attack. He's expected to have a balancing act ahead of him, pitching himself as the best Republican to take on President Joe Biden while touting the same policy wins as Trump and not ostracizing Trump's supporters amid Trump's repeated criticism of him. The June 7 timing puts Pence on track with his promise to make a decision before late June. His expected announcement will come weeks after a group of conservative allies launched a political group to support his candidacy. While Pence has touted his work in the Trump administration, he has had a fraught relationship with Trump himself. For 4 years, we had a close working relationship, Pence wrote in his book, So Help Me God, It Did Not End Well. Pence has criticized Trump for his rhetoric on January 6, 2021, when a mob of Trump supporters stormed the United States Capitol in an attempt to overturn the 2020 presidential election. Pence has since denounced Trump's rhetoric as reckless and said that history will judge the former president. And that's it on today's news. To keep up with Allnews Nigeria, kindly follow us on all social media platforms displayed on the screen. I am Okweyemi Olugbemi. Do have a lovely evening.